Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning the east side of the map playing in red. We've got Wham-O-One playing as the Order of the Dragon, and his opponent on the west side playing in blue. We've got Soldier playing as the Jeanne faction. Welcome everyone to Himeyama. That's the map for today. We've got the central pond of course, and I just wonder whether either player will go for it. I suspect maybe the Jeanne faction might, but probably not. I mean, often these two civilizations do like to go into the next stage quite quickly, and sending out an early spearman here, which is actually quite interesting. Like, we saw 3DB do this quite early on in the the release of the DLC, really. And wham, starting to follow suit, sending an early spearman. Kind of makes sense because you want to deny the gold as much as possible. That's a lot of villages and gold. I think, of course, Soldier must have scouted that out. Does have his scout going around the back, getting a lot of sheep as well, which is definitely going to be holding him in a good position. This is an interesting matchup. Let's talk about it. Jeanne d'Arc versus Order of the Dragon. Jeanne d'Arc can get going very quickly. Of course, the variant civilization of the French can often get that early French Royal Knight out, and they can pack a punch. They can do some damage across the field quite quickly. Of course, got that mobility, and poking and prodding Jeanne a little bit. There's only limited damage they can do. I mean, the villagers are going to get the gold they need and going to back off. And the thing is, Jeanne can tank this, and she can heal herself back up. So I wonder how much value this actually really gets for Wham. I mean, ultimately, it's not going to deny the age up, but more importantly, what they're probably going to be looking to do is deny the early French Royal Knight coming out particularly fast. And that's actually quite important to do, because that means it does buy some time for the Order of the Dragon, which is something that they need. The Order of the Dragon really do need that time to get up and running, to get rolling with their economy. Once it does get going, though, they're a civilization that can do something. Obviously, it's a civilization that's kind of been memed on it recently about how perhaps weak they are. But they've got some things going for them. In this matchup, though, it's a bit tricky because Jeanne is a very strong sub-faction, I should say, of the French civilization. Jeanne herself is, well, she's an interesting character. Gonna be starting her life as a lowly peasant, but working her way up on a journey of a hero. Getting a lot of troops on the way, and well, she's going to be getting that XP and looking to level up slowly but surely. And in fact, it won't be that slow, because actually building the landmark here will get that XP rocking and rolling. You can see right on top of her head. Now, the Order of the Dragon, if they can get their economy rolling, they can do some work. We have seen the Order of the Dragon go fast castle in many different civilization matchups. I think generally against Jeanne d'Arc, though, it's a bit risky. I wouldn't expect it to happen. Does lose a house, though, which is oh no, not yet. In fact, it looks like it, but it's actually... Wait, has this been updated? That looks... It's not even... Is that looks different to me. Anyway, the house is still being torched, of course, and surprised to see the Guild of Spearmen not going for the scout. Is really wanting to take that down. How's it going, Dr. Dabston? So if you guys are watching on YouTube, I am streaming live on Twitch these days, in particular this one I am, so sometimes I will say hello to some people in the chat if they are around. It's going to be the Minework Palace here for the Order of the Dragon, which is quite commonly done. The Archon Chapel feels a little bit weak at the moment for the Order. Only, I think it's 10% extra gathering rate for the Order of the Dragon, sending a villager forward to the middle. Thinking about going to maybe get a dock. In fact, maybe it's... Wait. Yeah, it's got to be, right? It's got to be for a dock play. Bit later than you expect, but it's understandable. The Order of the Dragon don't want to run the risk of not getting to the feudal age, when you might be up against some knights. Although they do get gilded spearmen, so in the Dark Age they should be doing pretty well against any knight that might be popping out. Wait, is that new music? I feel like something's changed. I don't know if it's me or just... I mean, that sounds like new music. Or have I just not heard this before? And I should have. Things feel different today. I don't know what it is, but that house looked different. That was being torched. And the music sounds very different. In any case, Guild of Spearmen settling and pushing those villagers back. He's going to commit quite a few villages because he's desperate to get those Royal Knights out. But while I'm getting the feudal age now, let's just see what he decides to do. He's going to go heavy on berries because of... Well, it's kind of a tricky situation. Didn't really get much sheep, so kind of had no choice but to go to the middle. Does get a dock up, but 2 scouts. And yeah, but that's part of the reason why he didn't get too many sheep. Double scout opening here for Soldier. Look how many sheep he's got. That's actually really bad here for Wham, because, I mean... The dragon villagers, by the way, they do gather more efficiently, 25% quicker, and so they chew through that food very quickly. Now, food is going to be an issue for the Order of the Dragon, and it's now a civilization that are probably going to want to... Well, I guess they're going to need to get out onto the map and get deer camps if they can. Feels like maybe they just don't have much of a choice. Oh, Jeanne popping out forward. Let me know if the audio balance is okay, by the way. It feels like it's a bit off, but anyway, I'll leave that to you guys in Twitch chat to let me know with the music sound versus the voice. But it's certainly going to look towards that dock, and it hasn't got too much value. Only one fishing ship so far, and that probably won't be doing much more than that. But it is having to rely on berries, and this might be leading to a very hard farming transition as time goes on. Opening with the stable himself, maybe looking to get a couple of those horsemen, which are very tanky for the Order of the Dragon, but they cost so much food. Feels like it's going to be pretty hard to fund here, considering the lack of food coming in for the Order. And definitely getting that plenty of gold there, soldier. 5 villagers, peeling off some now. That he feels a bit more safe and secure on that gold vein. And that dock going down. This is kind of a pretty rough start for Wham. Lacking the sheep because of the double scout play. Does snare up that knight. Might take it. No, it doesn't. Jeanne getting involved. The knight backing away for soldier. Soldier's going to keep that one alive as much as long as possible. Now, Jeanne probably will be looking to maybe capture some XP from the boar. There is one here in the southeast. Looks like she's actually going to be looking to be a bit more aggressive. Now, bear in mind with Minework Palace, we'll be getting access to those technologies a little bit cheaper. Well, I say a little bit. 40% cheaper. That's pretty big. Also 40% faster. There is that boar being taken as we speak. So valuable XP coming that way. Now, behind this, the Jeanne d'Arc faction, I mean, the great thing about the situation is he can be really aggressive here, soldier. Plenty of food. Now, there is a case to be made. Maybe you might want to venture out on the pocket economies in case you want to leave the sheep for a rainy day, in case you are pressured back. But ultimately, I think if the Jeanne d'Arc faction, if they're going to be aggressive and they are being pushed back, that's probably a bad situation to be in. This stage of the game, it feels like the Order have to make sure they survive for as long as possible so they can get that little power spike a little bit later on the game when the ecos gets rolling. But need to be careful about the spearmen. Jeanne does use the Holy Wrath ability, doesn't get much out of it. She starts to fight once again. There is one horseman and a scout giving that vision, but with only one horseman, I mean, this is not a fight that Jeanne can take, actually. The Order will take this cleanly. Can be a bit deceptive in terms of unit numbers, but these units are so strong. 250 HP on that Gilded Horseman. 190 on the Knight. That tells you a story. Jeanne, using her Holy Wrath ability, almost takes the scout out, but scout does back away just in time. And well, I mean, Wham is probably going to pull out of this situation. Probably doesn't need to try and kill Jeanne with these number of units. Probably won't be able to be honest. The Knight's going to try and get some value on the berries, but didn't really quite manage it. There was a spearman kept back there for Wham, just in case that happened, and it's good awareness. It's always tempting to pull all your units, but keeping a spearman there on the berries meant that Knight didn't manage to get any value. It does snipe out Jeanne in the end, and I wasn't expecting that, but she does go down. But I suspect probably coming back up alive very soon if he pays the tribute. Go for barracks. So really committing to that feudal age. 1-1-1. Stable archer range and barracks. Kind of getting surrounded. This is where the Order of the Dragon, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they start to come online. That economy does start to fuel that army, and well, that army is actually looking better here for Wham. Does have the dock still alive. Was that rebuilt? We didn't see that, but either way, it's still working hard. Does have a galley to defend as well, and pushing away the enemy units. There comes the barracks. Is up and running. The horsemen chasing down. The horsemen need to dive on those archers, though, because if those archers take the Gilded Spearmen, it leaves the knights pretty uncontested. Back at home, a couple of knights do charge in. Does take a couple of villagers on the wood line. In fact, just one there, it seems. The knight does get taken down. One Gilded Spearman remains. It's kind of crazy, right? How two knights are being pushed away by one Gilded Spearman. That just tells you how strong the Order of the Dragon units are. It almost feels like Jeanne maybe thinking about going... I mean, floating a little bit of food, but probably not expecting them to go to the castle age anytime soon. It might be a very heavy feudal age for both players here, I've got to say. In terms of who that really favors, well, probably neither, actually. Both can do well in the feud. She does snipe out one of the knights, which is not ideal for Jeanne. She's going to want to keep those knights alive and get chivalry. Does take out horsemen, though, for the troubles. Does Jeanne actually have chivalry? Not quite yet. Getting an outpost on that gold and not having that food early on for Wham has limited his economy a little bit, but he's making the best of it, going on to the deer camp. That's something that unfortunately Jeanne hasn't been able to pressurize, because actually that would have been a big scalp, like having the pressurized tempo aggression coming in from Jeanne. Denying the deer would have been huge, and this is an issue because those horsemen snipe yet another knight. With the movement speed 1.88 versus 1.62, that's what makes these units so strong for the Order, even against Royal Knights. The movement speed means that the knights can't really get out of there very easily. Soldier losing about 2 to 3 knights pretty quickly. Down in the south, though, this will be a harder proposition for the Order of the Dragon to deal with. Quite a few of those archers accompanying Jeanne. 2 knights leading the line. And he will take up another knight. And these are expensive units. Obviously not expensive as the Gilded Horsemen, but expensive nonetheless for Jeanne. I'm floating quite a bit of food. I just wonder, maybe Castle Age could be on the cards? I mean, that's a lot of food being floated. I'm not so sure if that's intentional or not. In any case, villagers on the barriers do need to back away. Uses the Holy Wrath ability, doesn't quite get much of it on those villagers. Villagers heading back home. Now, Wham, not losing a single... Well, I mean, not killing a single villager, rather. He's lost 3 of his own. Could be worse, especially with those knights lurking around. But now we do see this phase of the game where the Order of the Dragon are pretty settled. They've got the economy running and starting that farming transition. Got to be careful about this wood line, though. Pretty exposed, quite a few archers as well, so might lose a couple of units. Does have a couple of Gilded Spearmen. If the archers focus on them, though, does allow the 2 knights to get some value. But there's a lot of horsemen. This should be a good clear up for the Order. It's a great fight here. Jeanne won't be able to do too much about this. I mean, she's fighting with a sword, but those spearmen might be able to take her out. She does retreat for now on half health, but the horsemen will chase her down, no doubt about it. Once they've cleared up the archers, a couple of knights are going on to the deer camp, and that's valuable. Pushing those villagers away, making sure they're idle for now. Jeanne's still swinging her sword, but she's blocked in. She uses Holy Restoration and the Holy Wrath. But she does get sniped there. Horsemen backing away now, and feel like they've done the damage they needed to. A couple of spearmen, though, added there for the Jeanne d'Arc faction. Really helpful. But if they get taken down, there's only one more left, and the horsemen, yeah, they take it down pretty quickly. And need to be careful. One spearman does go down to the archers, and a bit of back and forth, but doesn't want to get too close here, Jeanne, because there is a TC to deal with. The villagers having to relocate on a second wood line at the back, which she'll be fine with. Now, Jeanne, with all that map control, is now be able to go into deer camp. Not that many units here, I've got to say, for the Order. But the good thing is it's got plenty of food coming in from the fishing. It will be the Regn's Cathedral coming up for the Order. Relatively smooth transition to that castle age, I've got to say. And this is an issue for Jeanne. Now, something's really interesting about this match and the way it is at the moment. With the Order going to the castle age, it gives soldiers something to think about, right? He's got a decision to make. He's got a certain number of units. He's got 27 to be exact here, to be able to use. Now, does he split them up to try and defend the relics, or does he try and pressurize his opponent? It's something to think about, because if he does try and pressurize his opponent, he might try and sneak a couple of planets out there, Wham. They'll mop up those relics, and ultimately it's very difficult to kill an enemy that quickly at this stage of the game without any siege, without any rams, without doing infrastructure damage, especially with the ranged type of army that he has here, predominantly soldier. So it makes it an interesting proposition whether Wham might be able to, within the pressure, be able to pick up some of those relics. It's something that the pro players do very well at. It's very easy to miss if you're not at the top of your game, to think about those relics when you're under pressure. Go quite heavy on the gold, and certainly if you're a soldier, probably one position that you would want to pressure is that gold, because going to the castle age, of course, you really want those premium units. You want those man-at-arms. You want those knights, maybe. And you can't get any of those if you don't have gold. That is the case, is queuing up gilded knights. Which, I mean, it's going to be tricky to deal with. Now, he does have a decent number of spearmen here, soldier. Whether he's enough, I'm not so sure. Oh, that's a lot of villagers exposed. He's got to be careful. He's got to keep army here, Wham. He feels confident, which is... There's only one gilded spearman. Wait. There's only one gilded spearman. And granted, there's only 2 knights, but... good micro. He might be doing some damage. Wham. Making sure he keeps the Gilded Spearman there. Does snipe a villager and backs away. Nice play there by Soldier. Bear in mind, every single villager that's lost for the Order is a big chunk of their economy than it is for their counterpart they're going up against. Because each villager does gather 25% more efficiently and does take longer to train and is more costly. But now that he's in the castle age, Wham, the longer that goes on, he'll be feeling good about things. Horseman dive in, does snipe at the scout. One more scout remains, and where are these villagers off to? I think he feels like he can't really gather that food anymore. Understandably so when there's this number of army here pressuring you. Now, do we see a prelate coming out? Not yet. Oh, there is. Just as I said it, he queues one up. But he is certainly going to be under pressure. 48 military here coming for Soldier. Sticking in around in that feudal age, but I think that won't stay that way for very long. He's got plenty of food coming in. Where is he getting all this food from? It's the deer camp, isn't it? Holy moly. He's going to need a couple more villages on food. On gold, rather. He's got a decent number. He'll be on his way to the castle age pretty soon. The question is, what does he go up with? Does he go with the Guildhall or the Regnitz, or the Royal Institute, rather? It's very common these days for people to go up with the Guildhall. That's a lot of villagers being poked and prodded by the Gilded Horsemen. Bear in mind, these guys, they pack a punch. It won't take them long to kill a villager. I suspect we'll get one more. It does indeed. And still the pressure coming in for Soldier. Trying to deny any relics coming in, but you can see the presence of mind here for Wham. He's got one in his clutches already. Looking to bring it home. There it is. There's the first relic already. Despite being under all that pressure, manages to get one. But because of this pressure, we'll be looking to rebalance that economy, getting a market as we speak. And around the back, though, on that wood line, pretty exposed. Does have an outpost with the relic garrison inside, which will certainly help. And that's a lot of army there for Soldier. Maybe he's looking for that feudal age push, but he is going to the castle age with the guild hall. Maybe giving him an option to play the later stages of the game with that guild hall landmark rather than the Royal Institute. But it's certainly something that's being chosen a lot more often, a lot more frequently these days, to go for that guild hall. Knights pressurizing that wood line, and the two outposts going to be helping a little bit with 3 gilded knights. Here come the repairs, the emergency repairs. And it's very difficult sometimes to kill off the Order of the Dragon, just as it is with the HRE with that emergency repairs tech. And look at that, presence of mind to send another prelate to pick up one of those relics. Does keep an eye there though, Soldier, making sure that the relics won't come in for free. Farming transition well on the way for Wham. There is that castle age with the guild hall. It is toggled onto food right now. Now, there's once a time that the guild hall would often automatically be put on stone and gather a crazy amount of stone. I can't quite remember how much it is at the moment, but it has been nerfed recently. So the stone income isn't as great as it used to be. Blacksmith upgrades coming in. Looking to get a second upgrade, balanced projectiles. Now the archer line is a really strong unit for the Order of the Dragon. Speaking of strong units, those Gilded Knights, holy moly, they're going to demolish those archers in a blink of an eye, and that knight won't get out of there. Not with the charge coming in. He takes him out. Good cleanup. Oh, these archers pathing around the wrong way. They don't want to be going that way. Lost a couple there to the galley. Oh, gets a good trap on that Gilded Knight. That was a good pick off. Oh no, he let him loose. He let him loose. Spearman, turn around, fight, take it. Oh, he doesn't kill him in the end. Bit of a miss there. Letting that knight to retreat and heal up. Now, there's one little strategy, one little tactic, actually, the Order of the Dragon, I quite like to see, and that's actually healing up these units, because these units are very tanky. As you can see, like, he's going to do that, isn't he? He's keeping the Gilded Knight back at home, and bear in mind that because they've got so much HP, you know, losing them, you don't want to lose these knights. You don't want to lose these units at all, as far as you can help it. And if you heal them up nicely, well, it's like having a brand new unit, and they're very expensive, so you definitely want to maximize every unit you've got. Hello. On that spearman. I mean, he might get it. I think he gets it. Does he? Oh, he does just about. And, well, he's got a regular spearman to go with the gilded ones. Soldier, though, really getting that bank of food. Not really spending it at this point. And it's a worrying sign, actually, because for his situation. Because he's in a scenario where he's being aggressive, but he's got a lot of resources he can use. He can either think about going to the Imperial Age with it eventually, or he could think about pumping it out into loads of units. And considering the phase of the game, because it's being very aggressive, I probably would have expected to see a lot more units on the field. Especially with the relics coming in now. There's the second one. But he's certainly keeping up the pressure, which is nice, and maybe slowly edging his way to that Imperial Age. Now, one strategy is commonly done by the Order of the Dragon is to go to the Imperial Age themselves with the Palace of Swabia. Gets that cheaper tech up. Also gets a great landmark of producing extra villagers. But I don't think he's going to feel comfortable about doing that just yet, because there's a lot of knights. A lot of units coming out for Jeanne. And I love the fact that he's palisaded here, or looking to. Hasn't been able to just yet. Would love to see his villagers do that, because there's quite a bit of strong economy here. He needs wood and needs gold, and got both of these in a pretty decent amount here. There's nowhere else you can really get it from. Not easily, anyway. Back onto the west side of the map. Plenty of walls coming up for Jeanne, and it's kind of interesting because Jeanne's not been pressurized very much at all, although these knights are cycling around now, so probably just as well as getting the palisades, because this could be dangerous. An outpost, 2 outposts, in fact. That's not going to be enough, though. Oh, this could be a massacre. That's a lot of knights getting a wraparound. Soldier does react in a decent timing. Well, it could have been better, considering he did have the vision with those outposts. Villagers garrison inside. 10 spaces in there, and I wonder whether the Gilded Knights would look to torch these down, because they've got so much HP they could probably do it. Decides to back away because he's being pushed on the front line, and that's a good response to from Soldier. It's exactly what you want to do. Maybe looking to pick up those knights. Keeping an army in the north, and well, behind all of this, Soldier's spent all his food. Holy moly. It's probably more the fact that he hasn't really got much, because he's having a hard farming transition now. Does have consecration on his School of Cavalry, so we'll be getting the knights a little bit cheaper. 105 food per knight at the moment. Villagers did build that wall in the end, and probably just as well. Soldier just checking if he's getting it. One relic has come in for Jeanne. I mean, this is an interesting situation. I've got to say, Wham has a really strong army. All those knights dive on these archers. Soldier wasn't paying attention. The archers got totally cleaned up, and that's going to allow those 2 Gilded Spearmen, or 1 Gilded Spearman, in fact, to do some damage. Jeanne has been leveled up, but she's going to get surrounded. She's going to be taken out. She's blocked in by her own unit. It does go down. Even using the Hydrodeath ability obviously wasn't enough, and those archers, Gilded Archers, going to mop up everything else. Those knights need to get out of there for Jeanne, and now this is looking scary because Wham taking a great fight there with the Order. Now going to push Jeanne right way back home. Good thing he's walled up, because those knights are going to be running in pretty soon. There's no doubt about that. Should be able to look and do some damage here, Wham. And this is where things are a bit scary, though, for Jeanne. Losing a big fight there. Things could snowball. Picking up another relic here, Jeanne. Looking to sweep them up as much as possible. 2 apiece, and there's still 1 in the northwest. Thought about taking that fight, Wham, but decided to back off, and it's definitely the right decision, considering the number of spearmen there. Do not want to get entangled on that. The west side, a couple of knights do get entangled by the spearmen, so good pick off of 1 knight. Probably should get a next one. No, just about gets out of there. 4 HP. Although, if the charge comes in with that veteran Royal Knight, a good chance that knight will go down. Oh, charge comes in. This is going to be a good fight for the Order, although doesn't want to fight directly against the spearmen. The Gilded Archers get involved. Picks off a couple of spearmen on the retreat. Good pick-offs there. I think Wham feels confident about this fight. This is where things can snowball. Taking 1 good fight leads to another often. It could be the case in the north. Trying to be more aggressive here, Soldier. With a spring order placement inside the outpost with 2 relics inside. He's trying to go around the back, right? He's trying to take care of this farming transition and the wood line. Will he get there or not? Oh, he decides to head back. Doesn't want to get trapped. It's actually a big area to get trapped in. If he does back into here and a couple of units come out for Wham to cut off the retreat, those knights would be gone, and it doesn't take that bait, doesn't fall for it. Soldier, regrouping back in the north. One Gilded Knight. Probably going to get surrounded there, unfortunately. Down on the south, this is where the big fight's going. Wallalow! Looks like Wham trying to get that 3rd and final relic. I actually managed to get this one because well, I was kind of thinking that was with the Jeanne, but unfortunately not. The knights and a couple of spearmen in hot pursuit, but I think the Predator gets out of there. Knights dive in. thinks better of it. There's quite a few of those spearmen. But if those gilded archers can take care of it, that would be a great fight in the end. But he's got to take care of those spearmen. There's just too many of them, I think. Backing away, Jeanne might get an Holy Wrath ability on those archers. I think that's what he's looking to do. Gilded Knights try and tank, and he does tank the Holy Wrath ability, which is just as well, because going on the archers would have been much more valuable. The Knights are really pushing forward and taking the fight, even with the spearmen. This is not a great fight for Wham. I think he needs to back off. He loses 2 Gilded Knights, which is great there for Soldier. But he does lose that 3rd and final relic. There's a lot of army still here for Soldier, but numbers-wise, population space at least, Wham definitely has the advantage in that regard. Got plenty of food coming in as well. Oh, Soldier, maybe look to dive this a little bit. Maybe look to take out that Minework Palace. Would be a good start to doing some damage. But he's got to do a lot more before the Order of the Dragon really feel the pain. That's got a lot of Gilded Archers though. I think a couple of Prelates heading out there. 2 of them there for Wham. Should be healing up the units quite nicely. Also adding into the fight. Does he have that tech? That special tech that helps them? Inspired Warriors doesn't quite just yet. I do love seeing that there for the Order. He's getting Military Academy here, Wham. So looking to really start pumping out units. It feels like this is going to be a really big Castle Age battle soon. Another player blinking. Another player going to that Imperial Age. Look how much gold those Soldier has though. Might look to try and get a market and try and rebalance that economy, because that's a lot of gold being floated. Here are the 3 Prelates. Going a bit forward, in fact. Going a little bit too far for comfort. Backing away now. The kiting needs to be good here for Wham. Needs to snipe out as many of those spearmen as possible. Holy Wrath ability comes out for Jeanne. Knights dive in and spearmen brace, and it gets a good engagement, especially with the Divine Restoration. Jeanne does go down though in the end, and still a decent number of Gilded Archers. I think the Gilded Archers should fight and win this. Spearmen try to back away in the line formation. They're going to start to retreat. Will the Knights join them? They will. The Knights for Wham. Maybe looking to charge this down. Get another favourable engagement, but take a look what's waiting them. A couple of Knights there for Jeanne, and a couple of Arbaletiers as well, which is a nice unit, I've got to say, for Soldier. Scales really well to that Imperial Age, especially when you factor in Gambesons. Is always an option when it gets there. The Order just falling back a little bit, looking to extend the walls, which is a nice play. He needs to make sure he gets a bit more map, not that much in the way of resources. Doesn't really win him that much. It looks like this situation, a game where it is poised at the moment, the next step is to secure gold. There's a gold vein here, and you can see the stone coming in for Wham. He's sensing a keep. He needs one, to be fair, and maybe Soldier thinking about the same. Does get the southern sacred site. Heads forward with the Mangonel, which is a nice choice. Although, I gotta say, the Gilded Archers, whilst normal archers, they really do die quite hard to the Mangonels. These guys are different. They actually do pretty decent. I mean, they hold their own against Mangonels. But, well, maybe if there's 2 or 3 of them, it could be a problem. Palace of Swabia coming in for Wham. Go for that Imperial Agent. This is a great keep. In fact, there's nothing here to deny this. Wham, noticing that the army's down the south. In fact, all of it's down the south. This is a great spot for a keep. This is probably the best position for a keep he could get in the game. 2 gold veins and a stone vein, and that is absolutely huge. There's no way that Soldier denies that, and because of that, Soldier's going to struggle if he runs out of this gold, which he will soon. He'll need to take care of this one. But now with Wham into the Imperial Age, he just needs to buy some time to get the upgrades, and if he does, that could be very difficult to deal with. Emergency repairs comes out for the Order, going to buy some more time. 2 Mangonels though, pushing forward and might be looking to do some damage. As Mangonels die, that could change the total nature of the fight. Soldier's going to do well to keep them protected if he can. Keep going up. Soldier's now aware of it. Possibly looking to target that Renks Cathedral. Wham though. With the Imperial Age, I mean, at this point, he's floating a lot of food and gold, I've got to say. He needs those production buildings. He needs to pump out. He's getting the elite upgrade though, which is definitely going to work well for him. Just needs to buy some time. 1 minute. That's an expensive tech though. 700 gold, 300 food. The Knights diving in and the Spearman there, Soldier. He's looking to pack the punch and try and end the game now. He's going to commit to that Castle Age, although he's floating so many resources in doing so. I wonder whether he's going to consider going to the Imperial Age. I mean, this is a bit of a tricky situation, right? He's fighting whilst his opponent isn't an age up. Jeanne diving in, but there is a culverin. Jeanne will go down, possibly. Wait, he uses the Holy Wrath ability first. In fact, the army there for Wham, focusing on the units, which is probably the best play. Soldier going down to 40 military, and this is an issue. He had the resources almost to tech up if he didn't keep spending. Just for another 30 seconds, but now he's lost all his army, so now this is an issue. He Wham, I mean, he's held. That was a strong, I mean, it wasn't that strong a push, actually. It was, I think it was a bit of a mistake there to go in that deep. Soldier wanted to do some damage, wasn't able to. And because of that, losing the army, now he can't go to the Imperial Age now. If he does, well, he will be punished because Wham now senses blood. He's sending his army forward. It'll take some time, but probably not enough time there for Soldier to build up a force once again. This is a situation with that army, he either had to kill Wham or tech up to the next stage and have a standing army. But now that standing army is kind of looking weak. Numbers, 35 of them. But if Wham doesn't push, maybe Soldier has a way back into the game. That's a big if, though, because Wham does look to be pushing. Understandably so. Spearmen torching down the dock. Oh, there's a lot of charging coming out from those knights. That engagement was terrible for Soldier. In fact, they didn't even engage. They were too focused on the dock. I mean, I don't think there was even any fish in here anymore. That was those spearmen definitely focusing on the wrong thing. A good number of units starting to build up once again for Soldier. The trouble is an age behind. He's always playing a balancing act, right? He's playing a balancing act between getting those units and getting to the Imperial Age. Defensive keep coming out for Soldier, looking to maybe challenge this area. A town centre coming up for Wham, not for villagers, but making sure that he has the emergency repairs if he so needs. Culverin sniping out a spearman. Now this is where it becomes really tricky for Jeanne, right? Because Wham and the Order of the Dragon really have reached their power spike situation. That is with the Palace of Swabia. This is where things become really interesting in the super late game. The Order, because their villagers are just a lot more efficient, 25% more efficient at gathering resources, it means they can get away with a lower villager count. It means more villagers, more population space rather, can be spent on military. Oh, Bombard might be sniped there by the knights. Knights dive in, but there's knights there from Wham as well. And these elite gilded knights, these guys will absolutely chew through the French Royal Knights that are still in the veterancy stage of upgrades. Red Palace coming up with 24 villagers being used to build it. Where is it going up? Going back defensively. No real choice, but concerned with that, it's going to run out of gold, right? This is not really in the realms of the grasp here for Soldier. Now, he does have the guild hall that he could potentially trigger onto gold, which is probably a smart move, and that's exactly what he's done. And plenty of barracks coming out. But I feel like a lot of the success that Wham's had and is going to have is surrounding these two gold veins. He's got so many resources banked up. He's at 200 population. This is where things become very scary for the Order of the Dragon. Because he can start pushing and he can start replacing that army very quickly. The bank of resources there for Soldier. They're not looking great. It's not much food there. Oh, Knights dive in. Gilded Knights should be able to chase and keep up. It's looking tricky. Imperial Age is in, but the elite upgrades to the Knights going to take another 25 seconds. Wham just needs to pressurize with units and he should be able to see out the game. Well, those knights. There's only one winner there. It's going to the gold in the south, which I think Wham might be thinking about getting over onto, because ultimately that's the only gold vein that potentially could be on here. Soldier, and I wonder whether Wham will spot that. He might just go for the heart of the base, which you wouldn't really begrudge. I love the forward production buildings, right? Because he's going to pressurize, and he's going to pressurize down the south. This is kind of smart because his reinforcements coming in, they're going to be coming in from the north. He's going to have a double-pronged attack, although he's going to run into the keep. And Bombard makes short work of that outpost. There's a lot of production here in the south that are going to go down, especially with the consecrated ones. It's not ideal to have those go down. Slowly but surely, the Order starting to eke a bit of a positioning. Soldier, though, does have a decent-ish economy behind this. I've got to say, bank of resources have started to climb again as he edges towards that 200 population capacity. Production just about to go down in the south. The army holding firm on the north. It looks like he's trying to... Yeah, he really wants to deny the gold. It's going to take some time. 2 trebuchets are working on it, but with emergency repairs always a possibility. That keep's going to take some time to go down. in the meantime, he's being pressurized down in the south, and, well, wham, he wants to get further control of that sacred site by getting a keep. And it feels like it can't really be contested at this stage. A couple of knights going around the back wood line. This could be dangerous. I mean, there's nothing here to protect, although, as I say that, a couple of knights charging through. Quite a bit of an overcommittal, though, I've got to say. It does leave some room for the army in the south to really pressurize. One Gilded Knight goes against the man-at-arms. Oh, I'm not so sure about this man-at-arms play. Because of the number of knights that are on the field for the order. Well, it does have spearmen to possibly accompany them. Wham, reaching that population capacity. And will Soldier be able to back into this? Get back into it. Yeah, I think there was two real key issues in this match and the way it's panned out and the way it's heading, possibly. And the fact they got to keep in such a strong location with 2 gold veins and also getting the forward production means that reinforcements really get back into the fight quickly. Man-at-arms though for Jeanne, going to head forward and look to try and take out as many of these Gilded Archers as they possibly can. Should do a decent amount of damage, but take a look at the Dragon Hand Cannoneers being added in here for Wham's. Got the economy to scale into that as well. Here comes Jeanne looking to sweep this up and should sweep this up. Will Holy Wrath ability comes out? Yeah, it does. And well, that's going to be a nice clean up. Those Gilded Archers, they're strong, but they're not going to be able to hold against this. Trouble is, in the north, that could pave the way for another little bit of a counter-attack. We do see a Bombard looking to take that keep down. The army is down there for Wham. He needs to replace that quickly. Did lose quite a bit of army. That's always the kind of concern you have with a heavily infantry-based army. If you get caught, boy, can it hurt. Looks like Jeanne, she wants to do some more damage. She's not happy with what she did just so far, but take a look how much those Dragon Hand Cannoneers actually managed to tank. It was like almost 6-7 knights there charging in and didn't even one-shot them. We'll be looking at lose that. If he loses that keep here, that's actually a big situation because then that's not going to be able to stop up the flood of man-at-arms. Sure, he's doing damage on the front. Well, thinking about it. They're just waiting. But there's no way to stop these man-at-arms flooding in. Like, the defensive reinforcements aren't going to be enough. Not with these numbers. And that's a problem. This could be... I mean, it feels like he needs to do something, right, Soldier? But I'm not so sure this is the play. He's committed now. He has to. This infantry wouldn't come back in time anyway. So we've got to do critical damage. But emergency repairs buying himself some time. Oh, losing 2 bombards there. Wham. A little bit cheaply. But it probably won't matter. I mean, these Gilded Man-at-Arms, they're going to tank against everything, anything that comes out. And they just keep coming. The army, though, for Jeanne, at this point, it comes down to who can kill faster. And with emergency repairs, you've got to feel like Jeanne has got a tough task ahead of herself. He's going to go hard to... Oh, he might snipe a Mangonel out. Although Mangonel is backing away. Maybe looking to get 1 or 2 shots off. Going to the farming transition. Bear in mind, though... No, I mean, this is a really bad situation for Soldier. The reason why is because of the Palace of Swabia. We see this a lot of the times with HRE. You can't... It's very difficult to raid this civilization to death because of the fact they can produce so quickly. Okay, they kill villagers. It's not a big deal. They make them back again very quickly. As long as they have a moderate bank of resources to do that, they'll be fine. It always needs a bit of a sustained push against the HRE and the Order of the Dragon, and that's not what's really happening here, Soldier. Diving in a bit. Mangonel will go down. That's a good picking off, and, well, I guess one way to deal with it is if he does take out the Palace of Swabia, a cannon in place inside the outpost will help him, for sure. Emergency repairs comes out on that, buy him more time. Here comes some Dragon Hand Cannoneers to defend with. He's actually pushing this back slightly, though, somewhat, which is kind of impressive to see. Just sheer numbers. Winning there in the end. Although, even now, I don't think he has enough. Down to 33 military and soldier. That push is all but dead. I mean, there's 2 outposts fighting underneath, and with these units going down, the Dragon Hand Cannoneers cleaning them up, and that means, well, that forward push here for Soldier hasn't really amounted to much. And it means now Wham could look to pressurize quite clearly on the front lines. I mean, it's going to take some time for these units to head there. But once they do, once they group together, it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And of course, he's always got this trickle of man-at-arms buying time. And oh, he's going into spearmen, which is... It's always a bit of a rough sight if you're going up against highly premium units and you're producing spearmen. It almost is a sign that it's not going to quite work out for you. Here comes Jeanne, though, fully kitted out with a blast cannon. 2 trebuchets and the cannon. Well, maybe looking to take out this keep, but again, with the emergency repairs always on offer, it will take some time, although not if he doesn't use it. Villager's coming out to repair, he does use it. And that's going to buy some time for the army to come together, and that's a scary army. Wham is down to 159 population, so there was some damage caused by that idle time. But with 2,000 food coming in per minute, well, it's not going to be too much damage for too long. Jeanne, going to look to try and snipe out the siege maybe? No, she backs away. Probably a good idea with this number of units here, especially the dragon hand cannoneers. Soldier, how much gold is here? Looking to protect whatever's left, 2,000 odd. This is looking to be a strong force, especially with now 2 bombards. Should be able to do some critical damage to the infrastructure. As long as they're well protected, which so far they seem to be. Culverin being added into the mix, which is a nice option. He wants to keep those bombards alive for as long as possible, of course, and still needing to get those upgrades there, soldier. But Wham, possibly gearing up for that final push, that last push that he needs. Both players are on 102 villagers, but that doesn't tell you half the story because 3 relics here with the Order and with the Regus Cathedral, but more importantly, these villagers that the Order have, 25% gather rate increase. I mean, you can effectively say he's got a 25% better economy, and then some. The bombards might look to just try and snipe out the trebuchets if they can get in range, which they might just if he doesn't react here, soldier. It might be the Culverin that's more scared of. Does snipe it out. He snipes one trebuchet. The other trebuchet gets out of there. Mill bears the brunt of the rest of it. Slowly pushing forward now. Yeah, this is a death ball of army, I've got to say. What does he have to do with the man-at-arms? No arbaletier, really. I mean, he's got a couple of archers. That's not really the answer that he needs. A couple of horsemen, a couple of spearmen. You can just see he's not really keeping up with the gold units that was being produced. Does have a bit of a bank of it. He's taking a fight. Mostly spearmen on the front line, but they're going to get chewed apart now. He does have these archers with the incendiary upgrade. Holy Wrath ability comes up for Jeanne and Divine Restoration. Can look to try and snipe out the bombards. Might get one. In fact, maybe not. Those Dragon Hand Cannoneers doing great work to keep those alive. And Wham might even pull a villager or 2 to repair. Wait a minute though. Jeanne is starting to push quite hard. But what this allows us to do is to get more Dragon Hand Cannoneers. An ultimate unit here for the Order of the Dragon, I gotta say. Still a couple of man-at-arms tanking on the front line, and well, that's just remaining with archers. Those archers, I'm not so sure they're the right unit. Slowly pushing further forward. Man-at-arms, they're not fearing those archers at all. They might fear the Red Palace though, but with the number of siege units here, 2 bombards and a culverin. If they're protected, Wham could take that palace, that Red Palace, relatively soon. Although, there's not that many units as there once were, and Jeanne about to ride in. Looking to try and get on top of those Dragon Hand Cannoneers. Does use the Holy Wrath ability. The archers trying to pick off the ones that are retreating. Jeanne has fallen, but I suspect she'll be coming back on the field pretty quickly. 2 bombards trying to unpack and unload, and well, there is a mangonel, could get a decent shot, but again, dragon units, they don't take all that much damage sometimes on the mangonels. Heading back to try and protect the siege. There's not much there in the way of cavalry anymore for Jeanne, and that's generally what you tend to see or like to see from that faction, but being pushed back once again, man-at-arms. Yeah, these archers, they're going to struggle. They're going to take out spearmen though pretty well. If we see more man-at-arms, it could be problematic for Jeanne, to say the least. Horsemen going to try and dive in. Villagers coming out to get an outpost on the front line, and if he's possibly looking to get a cannon in placement, or that goes down before it's even built. Trying to go with the one a bit further back. And he's really doubling down in this position. And if he holds this position, well, this is going to be a great staging ground to attack from. He has 700 stone in the bank, by the way. Could potentially buy some stone and drop a keep. Going in the north. Oh, that's a couple of you man-at-arms pushing away all those villagers. There's so many villagers there. A soldier. 31 to be exact. A huge chunk of that economy being idled. Dragon Hand Cannoneers, they need to be holding firm, and the archers will do well against them, to be fair. That's probably one thing that they're going to be good for. But again, man-at-arms tanking the front line. Wham, though. Not throwing... Well, I mean, it did lose quite a bit of units, but it's going to be regrouping once again for another blow. And the question is, how does Soldier deal with this? Because he's never really been able to push this back for the last 5-10 minutes. There's no real signs of that changing. Now, if he does play it super, super late, it's going to be ending up becoming, I guess, a face-off between the Guildhall Gold and the Rex Cathedral Gold coming in. Jeanne returns to the battlefield. Didn't actually use the bounty or the old tribute in the end. Decided to let nature take its course. Well, I guess it's not very natural for someone to come back from the dead, but you know what I mean. Picking off the remains of the man-at-arms. Here comes trade out here for Soldier. And the trade posts are not the greatest locations, of course, but still be a decent amount of gold. Let's just check on how much. 40, yeah, it's not that great. 40 gold, but it's alright. Oh, that's a lot of dragon hand cannoneers. Man-at-arms tanking the front. Looks like the horse. We're going to try and get a wrap around. Maybe look to target the siege. Probably a right move, but the dragon hand cannoneers, they realize the threat. They head back, and he might lose one bombard, but I'm not sure he'll lose all of them. In fact, it's keeping one alive, and that's a great play there. Baiting those horsemen and moving through the dragon hand cannoneers with those hand cannon. I mean, with the bombard in the end, and it's repairing as well. That's a massive loss of those horsemen. They tried to snipe out the cannons. They didn't even get a single one. Well, dragon hand cannoneers pushing the archers back. Man-at-arms are really the showstopper here. Very difficult to deal with. There's no direct counter unit here for the French or the Jeanne d'Arc faction. No Arbaletier is going to go for their own hand cannoneers, but straight up in a fight with the dragon ones, they will certainly lose. Horsemen still starting to come out, but in small numbers, and he's going to camp out on the production. And yeah, I think this could be game, ladies and gentlemen. It's down to 29 military, and all the military that do pop out are instantly being sniped by those dragon hand cannoneers, with 2 bombards being repaired as we speak. Now going to start focusing on the Red Palace. And he's got to defend that Red Palace, because if that goes down, it feels like that's going to be the last of it. The last remaining static defense between the main base and the Order of the Dragon. They're going to push forward in nonetheless. Those dragon hand cannons clumping up together. No mangonels to deal with that. Horsemen popping out. But again, as they pop out, some will go down. The Red Palace is on flames. It's being repaired by 3 villagers. That won't be enough. He's pulling more, but I think it's too little too late. The Red Palace does go down. 28 military on the field versus 89. Wham! Really starting to push hard, and Soldier down to 158 population versus the full population cap here for Wham. And well, those numbers, this could be the last fight. He's starting to repair the Red Palace. Horsemen trying to dive on top of those hand cannoneers, which will do decently well. But again, now we see the dragon archers coming out, and straight up fight. Regular archers versus dragon archers. There will only be one winner. And the bombards, they've never really been challenged. Not particularly well, and there's no springwalls or no counter to them on the field here for Jeanne just yet. And that's really part of the problem, because infrastructure is going down as we speak. Horsemen are popping out. Soldier trying to hold on as best he can. Down to 17 military. Wham, pushing forward. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Soldier, he taps out. I mean, he took a lot of losses, but it was a great fight nonetheless. He fought tooth and nail. In the end, he needed to get new teeth and new nails. Hope you guys enjoyed this casted game. Take care, and see you next time.